Okay. Well, I'm Jan. I am the president and founder of Gravitas Detroit and the creator of the Accountability Lab. And I'm thrilled that you're all here today to learn a little bit more about it and what we've been up to for the past 33 weeks. We never thought it was going to be 33 weeks, but yeah, it's 33 weeks. So today we're going to talk about motivation, about personal motivation. And I don't know about you, but I've been struggling a little bit with motivation with the pandemic and certainly with the election. And, I'm that sort of super motivated kind of person. For those of you who know me, I'm the one that stands on stage and says to people, hey, make a commitment in the morning that you're going to get up at 5 a.m. and do it. Don't hit the snooze button. That's how you start the day. That's how you elevate the day. That's how you have a successful day. You set your day up for success, right? So I'm that person. And then when the pandemic hit, it hit me hard and I lost that spark. I was hitting the snooze. I was doing the thing that I tell people not to do and the thing that I was not doing. So I kept hitting it. I just wanted to curl over and go back to sleep. And then I would get out of bed. I'd watch the news. I would be gripped with fear and angst. I was worried about food, groceries, right at the beginning of the pandemic, right? We all went through this, worried about my family, health, safety. So many things that we took for granted were gone or had a question mark around them. And then, of course, there was the business impact. I had just launched my business, just started to get some traction, and boom, the whole thing was wiped out overnight. Speaking gigs, offsites, coaching, all gone overnight. And I was scared. And I knew that I needed something to get that spark back again. And quite frankly, I was afraid that I would just circle down into a dark hole. And I had a sense that I wasn't alone, that other people were feeling the same way. So I had this idea. I thought, you know what, maybe if we just schedule a call really early in the morning, because you got to be into this, right? You've got to be committed to do this. What if we did that? And what if we formed an accountability group? So I talked to my friend Anita Cowell, who you'll meet later on. And Anita is an experienced, highly skilled business coach, and she also has a neuroscience background. So, I said to her, "Hey, what do you think of this? Right? Is this stupid? I mean, or does this have some merit to it?" And she said, "No, it absolutely does. You should do it." So I threw it out there on social media, and I said to everybody, "Hey, if you want to join me for this call at 6:30 in the morning, it's an accountability group. Jump on, and we're going to do three things. We're going to make a commitment for work for the day, something that we might typically push off, something for our personal well-being, so whether it's yoga or walking or spending time with a spouse, whatever it is, and then a word to describe our mindset. Because mindset is everything. If you start your day with the right mindset, you can do anything. You can truly elevate your day. But if you start off your day watching the news, just sort of slouching around, right? Which we've all done some of that during the pandemic. I get it. But if you don't change that and form a new habit, a habit that really is focused on achievement, on personal achievement, then you can spiral downward. So we started the accountability clinic. It was called a clinic in the early days. We later changed it to lab, and I'll explain why. And we formed a community of support and encouragement for each other. And we provided clarity for ourselves for our day. I interviewed a Navy SEAL a few months ago, and I said to him, "How are you so successful? You're a Navy SEAL, you're into all these extreme sports. When that thing in your head tells you you can't go any further, you can't do it anymore, you need to rest, when that happens, how do you keep pushing?" And he says, "It's easy. It's just incremental improvement. It's one step at a time." And I thought, wow, how great would this be if we could all move forward together one step at a time. And support each other in a way that, when you talk about accountability, I know in my past corporate life, I think of accountability as almost a bad thing. I picture a boss with his finger pointing at me going, I'm going to hold you accountable and you better finish these goals and objectives or you're out of here, but that's not what this is. This is accountability in the most positive, supportive, encouraging way that you could ever imagine. And we've been doing it for 33 weeks. I cannot believe it. There's no judgment. There's full transparency. Believe me, when you roll out of bed, literally in front of a camera at 6:30 in the morning, there can be no judgment. There's no positioning or trying to impress somebody. We're not concerned about titles. It's just a group of people who genuinely want to improve themselves by supporting each other. That's what it is. And we use the power of the group. So, when you think about peer pressure, it's one of the most powerful motivators of human behavior. And again, we tend to think of it in a negative sense, right? When we think of peer pressure, you think of teenagers maybe smoking or drinking or something of that nature. But it can also be used in a positive sense. Nobody wants to show up in the morning and say they didn't do what they said they were going to do the day before. Now, there's no judgment. Nobody's mad at you. And we have days when we fail. We all fail. We're human beings. It's all okay. We try to understand why we failed, what the distraction was, what can we do to get better the next day. And collectively, we just improve day after day after day. And I'll talk more about how it works, but that's enough from me for right now. I'd love you to hear from some of the current members of the Accountability Lab. So let's start out with Anne. Anne, take it away.
Thanks, Jan. Hi, everyone. I'm Anne Partington. I run a high-tech entrepreneurial accelerator and lead diversity, equity, and inclusion for an economic development organization called Ann Arbor Spark. I joined the Accountability Lab a few weeks after it started, after I met Jan at an online webinar. Her genuine authenticity, her care for others, and that energy, I just wish I could bottle it, really stood out to me. And the opportunity to be part of a cohort of purpose-driven leaders really appealed to me. Each day begins with the team, and we just have this really lively session of intentional goal setting and connection. And we're truly invested in supporting everyone in the group through the challenges and the successes. What I have personally experienced is incredible camaraderie, acceptance, and a sense of belonging with my Accountability Lab family. You guys are stuck with me. And it has been a road of continued personal and professional growth for me through an unprecedented time of crisis. I am so deeply grateful to this entire Accountability Lab family and energized to be part of this group. And I just want to say a heartfelt thank you to you, Jan.
Thank you, Anne. That's lovely. Anita.
Oh, hi. I've worked from home for 15 years. I have some degree, I would think, of self-discipline. So I was just horrified. Same thing you said, Jan. When everything changed, and I was getting out of bed late, and who cares, and everything's different now. And so when you suggested it, I just thought, I will do it just to get out of bed. And I had absolutely no idea that so much else would come with that, even though we talked about it and I know the science of it, but you are the real deal. You just said you were going to do it and you did it. And, here we are, 12 very grateful people, 33 weeks later. But I didn't really guess that, it's one thing to commit to something, and, it's another thing to know how you're going to intentionally go about your day and do that thing. And I think we all got better at that too. And, and then the big one, did you do what you said you were going to do yesterday? And I don't know about you guys, but I have bounced out of bed at 11 p.m. and gone to the damn gym because I said I would. And, that kind of thing makes me feel like a Navy SEAL, even if I'm not, And I think, you know, the other thing is that we've all achieved so much. I mean, it wasn't just about getting done what you said you would do that day, but I've cleared things off my to-do list that have been sitting there for years. It's just kind of, you know, I've gone through things that bother me and wake me up at night. And so that has been amazing. And I know for sure my peers, like, you know, someone's writing a book now, someone just got their dream job. You know, someone else, we're all building businesses, and, you know, we're really accomplishing things. So it wasn't just about getting out of bed, it was about going deeper and really sort of understanding how I work, and love the support from my peer group. It was such a diverse group of people, and we learn from each other. And yeah, I'm really committed to this group. 33 weeks can be 33, you know, however long we've got. I look forward to it. But thank you, Jan, for pulling that together. Amazing.
All right, well, thank you. You're the founding member. Emmanuel, let's go to California and talk to you.
Hey, everybody. My name is Emmanuel. And so I joined the Accountability Lab, I think about the first week. What initially drew me into the group was actually just knowing Jan and having interacted with her on a couple of different occasions. I know that she's a very positive and motivational force. And so during the pandemic, I think just like everybody else, I was in this place of you know, both loneliness, but also interest in growing and kind of excelling. So I run my own personal business called Aztec Labs. And essentially, I help manufacturing companies and supply chain efforts succeed through technology. And so I thought it'd be a great opportunity to just be around different innovators, different entrepreneurs, just people who, you know, are probably like me in various ways, but also very different at the same time. And so I didn't really know what to expect, to be quite honest, but from the first day on and onwards, it's been, like everyone said, an amazing opportunity to just grow and to like consistently tap into this source of motivation and inspiration. And I've really just like gleaned a lot of wisdom just from hearing about people's perspectives. Everybody's at a different stage in their career. We all support one another in terms of like helping each other out. With like problem solving, understanding like how we can be better communicators at work or even in our families. So yeah, it's just been an amazing chance to grow individually, professionally. And yeah, I think this is going to be a lifelong partnership and friendship for me. So it's great to be here, and thank you, Jan.
Yeah, thanks, Emmanuel. Yeah, we created a high performance team, but not in a corporate setting, without all the bad stuff, right? There's no toxic politics, there's no positioning, there's no trying to impress anybody. This is just a group of people who genuinely have each other's backs and want to support each other. And when, you know, we go through these sort of ups and downs because we're human beings, right? You can't be on and perfect all of the time. So we have down days, and we see each other go through that, but we support each other. And if somebody, you know, has lost their job, or, you know, needs help or needs a skill, and somebody's got that skill, it's never somebody's job where you have to point to somebody and say, oh, you know, you need to do this. The person automatically comes forward and says, oh, I can help you with that. Let's do this. Let's try this. Let's try that. And that's why we changed the name from clinic to lab, because what we're doing right now is we're really experimenting with different ways of motivation and accountability. So one thing is getting a good night's sleep. As simple as that might sound, that is foundational to the art of achievement. If you don't get a good night's sleep, you can't wake up fresh and ready to take on the day and crush your goals and do all the things you want to do. So we experiment. We talk about, should you take a shower before you go to bed? Should you listen to a meditation app? Should you do some yoga? And we talk about these different things, and we try different things, and we're human beings. We're all different. It's not the same thing for everybody. When you read all these things on LinkedIn and all these different sources that come at you with all, we should do this, successful people do this and do that. Okay, great to know, but is it going to work for you? And that's what we like to do. We like to experiment with all of these things. So just to recap again, this is simply how it works. This is not rocket science. We come into the lab on the Monday, and we say exactly what it is we're going to do that day. And it could be, there's a client proposal that you've been pushing off that you really need to get done. So you're going to say, okay, I'm going to do it that day. And then we'll talk about How do you get that done? How do you stay away from all the distractions? One thing we've learned is to put it in your schedule. So schedule that big thing and do it first. Don't get into all the distractions of email and social media first thing in the morning. It will destroy your day. Start to focus on that one thing that you want to accomplish that day immediately and put it on the schedule. That's one thing that we've all learned that helps us be more productive and more accountable. Then the other thing is, distraction, social media. I'm horrible at it. I get distracted all the time. So really scheduling time for those distractions is okay. Learning to say no is another one. When do you say no to people? Learning to say no and coming from an authentic place, that's important. That will help you to be more productive. And then we realize that in this situation that we're in, there's a tendency to work all day and all night. When does the workday start and end? I know a lot of you have felt that, right? When are you done at the end of the day? And when are you, a worker, a parent, a carer? All these different roles that we have are all merged and mingled together now in the same place. Because before, many of us had an office where we were the work persona, and then we came home and then we were able to have that physical separation. Now we don't have that, so it's all mixed together. So how do you manage that, and how do you make sure that you have time for the family and the other people around you and for yourself? Self-care is critical. So we often talk about yoga. I will tell you. Our definition of yoga is if you put the mat out and lie on it for just a minute, it's yoga and it counts. Now you may say, well, that's
story,
ridiculous.
Jan. You stole my story.
Oh, did I? Sorry. Okay, I won't talk. Okay, I'll let Carolyn talk about that. But it's about making a start. It's about doing something, to a task, anything, making a start and having people that will support you with that task, not tell you, well, that's not good enough. You should be achieving this, or not looking at somebody who's achieving all these great things. Social media, Facebook is the worst, right? We see all these people that live all these perfect lives. This is not about that. This is for imperfect people, which we all are, recognizing their flaws, being open, being vulnerable, but with a definite mindset of improvement and achievement. And that's how we support each other. And then we set a word for our mindset. And you might think, well, maybe the mindset for the day is, I want to achieve everything. I'm high energy. I'm going to do this today. It isn't. You know that as a human being, sometimes our energy is just, what? Today's going to be a rest and relaxation day for me, and that's okay. Today's a reset day. Maybe today's a day where it's all about gratitude today, and then other days it's all about achievement. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this, and I'm all high energy. It's all okay. Recognizing it and setting a mindset and an intention for the day is where it's at. If you really want to elevate your day for success, that's where it's at. And it's so simple and yet so powerful. So who is this for exactly? Is it just for presidents and directors, or, who is it for? I will tell you, it is for any human being who wants to get that spark, that motivation back and improve it and keep moving forward. That's what this lab is for. We've got people, and you'll meet the rest of the lab in just a moment, but we've got people with different titles, different backgrounds, different industries all over the map. And we celebrate and love that diversity and the diversity came naturally because there was no requirement for entry. You didn't have to have a title. It wasn't a gender thing. It wasn't an age thing. It's all over the map. And we love that about the group. And I think, frankly, that's why we're able to learn so much from each other, because we have all these different perspectives. So what will you get out of it? You could become addicted. I warn you right now, because I never thought we'd be doing this for 33 weeks. So it is somewhat addictive. you will get a sense of belonging and connection. You know, a lot of people are feeling adrift, particularly people who've been used to be part of a team in an office environment, you know, not having that interaction, that connectivity. You know, Zoom is good. We can talk about content and agendas and the tasks on Zoom, but it's that, you know, what about the chats you used to have in the hallways and the before the meetings and the after the meetings conversations? So it helps to fill in that gap, that need. I mean, for me, that need is huge, right? Because I'm a big people person. So having that connection point in the morning certainly helps to bridge that gap. Being able to be yourself and be fully and truly authentic is good, because it's almost practice for the workplace, right? If you ever feel that you can't quite be yourself at work because you're trying to fit some sort of corporate mold, this is a place where you can experiment a little bit with being more authentic, because there is no judgment. Nobody's ever going to judge you for anything. The way you look, what you say, what you do, what you don't say, what you don't do. There's absolutely no judgment. It is a safe place. We respect confidentiality. I have never had to talk to anybody or be concerned with confidentiality. It's just part of who we are. It's part of the brand of the group. The group right now is 12 people. And I think this is a great time for you to hear from some of the other members. So let's go to Carolyn.
Like Tina, I almost wanted to say good morning because this is a morning thing for us. But good evening. It's nice to see all of you. So I was one of the first people to join the Accountability Lab in the very first week. And I joined because I'm a fan of Jan, first and foremost. I met her a few years ago and really admire and still admire her enthusiasm, her passion for leadership, and you know, being authentic. And I thought, you know, what better way to wake up every morning than to have that kind of, you know, motivation and to, you know, really, you know, start the day off on a positive note. What I didn't expect was to develop so many relationships with the other Accountability Lab members. And I think for me, one of the things I've liked best about it is we're in this world now where we're constantly trying to replicate a face-to-face experience. And this group and this meeting is the closest I have found to it yet. And it's because everyone's got their cameras on, everyone's very authentic and real and talking, and we just really get to know each other. Everyone has kind of their own different areas of expertise. So it's really been great for making those personal connections, especially if you're used to being in the industry and out networking and going to events. It's very helpful. And for me also, I need that type of regimented schedule. I mean, I really need to have my own office, not be sitting in the middle of my kitchen, living room, dining room, but I have to work with what I have to work with. So I need that at least regimented schedule where I'm getting up at the same time every day. And I find that on days when I do end up missing the lab, I really do miss it because it throws off my day. You know, it's a great start. It's like, okay, getting set, we're setting our mindset for the day, like Jan said, and deciding what you're going to accomplish and not. And she already shared the yoga story. I mean, I learned so much from everybody. I learned that, you know, lying on a mat counts as yoga. And the day I found that out, I was like, nice. I have not had any formal exercise program in I don't even know how many years. I went upstairs. I'd like to say I ran, but I don't run. I went upstairs, dug in the back of my closet, pulled out my lime green yoga mat, threw it on the floor, and I laid there for like 10 minutes. And I was like, yep, I did yoga today. And I felt pretty good about it. So there really are a lot of advantages to kind of, you know, getting to know a group and starting off your day with that particular mindset. So that's just some of my personal experience and why I'm still a part of it 33 weeks later.
Thanks, Carolyn. Brenda.
Okay, so I did not join at the beginning. I remember, and I've known Jan for a while now. I've seen her, you know, from the launch of her business, and I saw her postings, and I'm like, I know Jan's like a high energy, but I'm like, who is this crazy lady doing a lab at 6:30 in the morning during the pandemic? Why are people getting up that early? It's crazy. And one of my friends, Shauna, joined the lab, And a couple weeks in, I was talking to Shauna, and she was like, we were talking about our day, and she's like, yeah, get up at 6:30. I'm like, 6:30 in the morning? And I was intrigued, and it was on a Thursday, and she's like, you should come tomorrow. So I came in on a Friday morning and I tried it out, and I'm like, it was actually kind of interesting. And then I went on the next week. It wasn't like I had no plans of becoming a part of the group, but I kind of came in the next week. And then part of the reason I joined the group is, for me, when I get stressed out, I stay up later and later and later, and it's the work and the family and everything. And I'm an independent marketing consultant. I specialize in helping people with LinkedIn, and I do public speaking and virtual speaking. And I've missed the interaction with the people, but then it's the working from home and being around the family all the time. And the only time I really have by myself is when everybody else is asleep. So I found myself getting later and later and later, and then having a really hard time in the morning getting up because I was so tired. So it actually reset my clock, and it got me going to bed earlier and getting up earlier. So that's why I joined initially. For me, I mean, part of this group is it's kind of like they have become a little bit of my family, and I have to joke and I have to talk a little bit quiet because I think they can hear me talking, but it's kind of like being in the house all the time with your husband and your kids. And I love my husband, but I can't stand the sound of his voice anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you just want to like talk to other, and I can say that to the group, and I see Joy laughing, and I'm like, I'm embarrassed to say that. And everybody's like, we feel like that too. And it's nice to have a safe place where you can say things like that and not have anybody pass judgment on you. And then over the course of the lab, I've also, like, there's been a couple days where I'm like, wow, there was a theme for today. Did we all hear it? And today we were all talking about motivation, or we were talking about inspiration, or different. And it's, you learn, like, I don't want to say through osmosis, but by being in the group, you learn from other people. You know, you learn about drinking more water as a personal goal. And, you know, you learn that when you have something on your to-do list 2 days in a row and you haven't gotten it done, I start to kind of go, why am I not getting this done? And I come back to the group. Today I'm supposed to edit or look at my book edits, and I haven't done it 2 days in a row. And I kid you guys not, when I got on this call, I was like, oh, I got to do that for tomorrow. So I pulled it up in another page. When I'm off of this, I'm going and doing that work. So the group helps to keep you focused and on track. I can't say enough about it. And if you're even mildly considering, give it a try, because it's the simplest but most amazing thing to be a part of this group. And I'm so, so grateful to Jan, to you, for pulling us all together. We really are a family amongst all of us. So thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely. Thank you, Brenda. Christopher.
Well, good evening. So I did not join at the beginning. Before the pandemic hit, getting up early in the morning was a piece of cake, because I was usually at the gym at 5:30. Hit the gym very early in the morning, get things started, set my plans and intention for the day. Then the pandemic, and things changed. Everything changed. And once gyms closed, once there was a lack of structure and a lack of routine, it became very easy not to get things done. Just because you put something on your to-do list, well, today, tomorrow, this week, this month, it's all just sort of pandemic day. By trade, I'm a speaker, trainer, IT project manager. So I like structure and order. And I've been connected to Jan for a while. And we saw each other during a Simon Sinek Find Your Why. She asked, hey, you want to talk afterward? And I love that. Part of the fun of going to something like that is the debrief afterward. And if you can exchange notes with somebody who was in that same experience, it helps your perspective. And that's one of the things about the group that I love. My perspective is limited to my life experiences, what I've observed, what I've seen, what I've heard from other folk. Sharing things with the group expands and extends the horizons. It expands the possibilities. I see solutions now that weren't thought of before. Somebody will mention, well, did you try this? Oh, no, I didn't. And then I can offer the same. So after that Simon Sinek Find Your Why, where Jan and I exchanged information and debriefed afterward, she invited me, and she was Now it's 6:30 in the morning. My first piece of cake. That means I can get up, maybe work out, read the paper, look at the news, and then be engaged and enthused and energetic in a 6:30 call. And I really like how that 6:30 call sets the tone for the day. One of the things, in addition to expanding my horizons, is that mindset. It forces you to stop and think, what is my intention for today? And what am I going to set my mindset to be? When you stop and think and put that into words and verbalize it to others, it helps reinforce that within yourself. So I am very grateful for the Accountability Lab family.
Great. Thank you, Christopher. Catherine. Catherine,
Catherine, you're on mute.
Hey, Catherine, you're muted.
Something that you shouldn't do. So sorry. Let's
all
start
right.
over. So my name is Catherine Vigano, and I'm going to give you my backstory of why I decided to join the Accountability Lab. So I was in my last job, I was in the wrong company, and I was working 100% remote before the pandemic came, and I was missing contact. The contact that I had was calling people, and there was no office atmosphere. And in my whole work life, I was used to getting up, getting ready in the morning, getting dressed, going to work, and interacting with people. I'm a recruiter by trade, so I love that type of contact, and I was missing that. So I knew I needed to do something. Then March came, I got the call, the position ended. So that problem, if it was a problem, which it was resolved, but now I was out of work during a pandemic. As a recruiter, it really was a roadblock for me, and I didn't want to go down that path of, I guess, like a form of depression, like, oh, I'm never going to find a job again. I was losing my I needed structure. I'm very structured, put together, and I knew I needed some form of discipline. So I found Jan. I was looking online, of course, on LinkedIn, and I watched a few of her videos, and I loved her energy. She had my energy and just that drive in her and spark. And I thought, I need to talk to her. I need to meet her. But I remember joining, and then I a few weeks after, I was like, oh, I can't do this. I was getting into the pandemic mindset. So I needed to wash my face, get rid of all those bad things, because I was watching CNN and all that stuff. So I sent her an email because I felt stupid. I joined. She, opened arms. Everyone was great, embracing. And then I flaked out. And so I was like, Jan, can I come back? I missed everybody. And I missed that sense of, okay, you need to set the goal. You need to do this. Have you thought of this? Just like Chris said, it was really outside of the box thinking, but it was just, everyone has a different background and they're dynamic. Everyone has a different view and perspective and life lessons that, they've gone through. So it really, for me, gave me a sense of hope during this crazy time. And it gave me, I guess that I wasn't alone and that I was okay. It's okay to break down. It's okay to feel weak today, or it's okay to feel, good or bad, whatever it is. But for me, it was like a therapy, but yet it was, I became friends with a lot of everyone in the group, and I miss it. Now I'm working. So there was a success out of it. But Jan has been, and everyone in the group has just been so accepting, all different skill sets, and I empower you to join. You won't regret it.
Thanks, Catherine. Joy.
You're welcome.
Oh, right. I so want to say good morning.
I know.
Oh my gosh. As soon as I hit unmute, it was like, oh, good evening. Hey, everybody. I know exactly when I joined the lab because I joined in week 13. And 13 is my favorite number. So I'm like, ooh, that's kind of weird. It's like week 13. I was doing another webinar with Cadia Connect, and Jan was on, and Cheryl had asked me a question, and I said out loud that, I was feeling so untethered. I remembered that was the word that I used. And Jan, on this big Zoom screen, like reached right out from one cube over to mine and said, hey, you should join my accountability lab. And I'm like, what? Like, who are you? And what are you talking about? Though I had seen her on LinkedIn, I had listened to some of Jan's podcasts as well, but like the fact that she even saw me in the group, which is kind of one of her superpowers. I think that she sees all of us so well, that she pulled me out of my little cube and said, come join us in the accountability lab. And I showed up the next morning, which was a Wednesday at 6:30 in the morning. And all these people were on the screen and they were sharing so simply, just what do you got to get done today? How are you going to take care of yourself? And where's your mind at? It was like, wow, this is really cool. And then I got off the call, and the next morning I went, wait, they do this every morning? And I thought, well, can I do that every morning? I think I can do it every morning. Like, I was really, I work in automotive. Right now I'm working on 2 plant builds in Detroit for FCA, and I'm doing a lot of technical documentation. So the work that I do is untethered from engineering. It's untethered from project management. I've been working at home since March. I'm untethered from my business, and there were no lifelines in that for me anywhere. And I was really starting to feel it when Jan reached out to me, and this lab has tethered me. It has given me a place to be. Nobody's helping me get my documentation done or advising me on the work, but they're just there for me to connect to every morning and say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I've got to get done. And this is how I'm going to take care of myself. And everybody's there going, okay, Joy, that sounds good. Let you go ahead and do that. We want you to be successful. We want you to get through things. But I remember sharing this with Jan a few weeks in, that the thing that the lab gave me was I'm accounted for. So I know we call it the accountability lab, but I turned that around on everyone and said that for me, I really needed to be accounted for. And that's what this group of people does. And we are so we're running an experiment. We're running this social connection experiment, and we're really good at it. We have learned to be probably the best versions of ourselves because we are connected to each other. So Jan, hats off. I love it. 20 weeks later, I'm still waking up every morning being a part of it. And I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Joy. Yeah, you're right. We're really striving to be the best version of ourselves every single day. It's not something you read a book or you read something on the internet, you go, oh yeah, I'm going to be better tomorrow. We actually do it. we actually put it into practice every single day. Tina.
Yes. Good morning just feels right, but hello. Joy just did what she does every morning. I just went from neutral to giant smile. So if that's not a case study in and of itself, but so I'm Tina Kozak. I'm the president of Franco. It's integrated communications agency in Detroit. I would have described myself as high performing extrovert, maybe a year ago or 18 months ago. Life just kind of hit me hard in the last year and a half. And so in August, so I was the last one to join. I joined in week 20. And in August, I was it was at a wall. I was running the business and I have 2 small kids. It was coming up on a year since I lost my dad. And so everything was just kind of converging. I really needed structure and routine. I was not getting out of bed because I didn't have to. And that was kind of really troubling. I think I was really craving like the human connection again, just the monotony of being home was setting in. And so low motivation was the result for me. So I followed Jan on LinkedIn because I saw her speak at the Automotive News Leading Women event last year, and I loved her. She was up there dancing, and I was so inspired. And so since then, I've been following her on LinkedIn. And so I had seen her talk about the Accountability Lab, and I think I also follow Brenda. And I saw it in a few places. I'm like, what is this? So I reached out to Jan, and I was really grasping, I think, at straws at that point because like I knew I needed something. And Jan was so gracious and said, let's, Joe, come on in. Like, we've been assembled, but we've got we've got a place for you. Come on in. And everyone welcomed me, even though they had been formed for 20 weeks. And they were just, that sense of belonging was so what I needed. So the structure and the routine and setting the intention has been a great benefit for me, and the accountability that comes with that. But I think more so it's just the attitude adjustment that the lab has provided for me, and really continues to provide every day. Because I can come in maybe like a little bit tired or frustrated about something at 6:30 in the morning, and like, how can you not hear from these people and just leave feeling better? And they'll talk about an intention for the day, and I'm like, that sounds like a great intention. That sounds like a great idea. Like, I'm inspired by them every day. There are just these nuggets of wisdom. And so I think for me, it's just helped with really my outlook in addition to my accountability. So I was lucky enough to kind of snag one of the last spots. And since week 30 or 2020, when I joined 13 weeks ago, I've been telling Jan, you have to start another one. What are you waiting for? You have to, there's a market. There is, there are people who need this, and there's really an opportunity to help other professionals who I know are facing, many of the same sort of challenges and feelings, just help to improve their performance in this really just collective community way. So here we are. So thanks, Jan. I'm so happy to have found the whole group, and just really excited that there's an opportunity to grow this social experiment.
Great. Well, thank you, Tina. So the bad news is the 6:30 a.m. lab is closed. We're at max capacity. Or some of you might be going, whew, because you didn't want to get up at 6:30 in the morning anyway. But the good news is we're starting a new one, Accountability Lab number 2. And it opens on November 16th, and we'll start at 7:07 in the morning. So if you get up at 7, you've got time to roll in front of the camera, because that's all you've got to do. And you're off the call by 7:30, because the last thing anybody needs right now is another Zoom meeting, right? I mean, nobody needs it. But what if this Zoom meeting, which is less than half an hour, could set you up for the day so that you could be more productive and you don't feel so exhausted at the end of the day? What if it really could make a difference? So that's why we've opened up the second lab. And when you subscribe, I will schedule time with you. We would get a one-on-one time together for 1 hour so that I can understand, what's going on with you, what your goals are, what some of the things, your challenges, some of the things you're struggling with. So we know what's happening with you so that we can support you in the right way. And then off we go. And we launch on November the 16th. So the lab is open for sign up immediately after this call. It is a subscription model. It's a monthly subscription model. It's $49.99 a month. And we are excited to be putting lab number 2 out there into the world. You'll get the link tonight. And I hope that we see you in the next lab. I just want to do everything in my power to help people be more productive and more motivated and achieve more out of their lives. I never thought that we would be doing this for 33 weeks, but it's working. It's clearly working, and I'm loving it. I think you would too. So before we close tonight, if you have any questions, please just speak up and, let's bring them on. Let's talk about it.
I have one big question. Emmanuel, you get up at 3:30 in the morning to do this every day?
Oh, to Emmanuel?
Yeah.
You on mute?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. No, Brian. So I just moved to California recently.
Right. No, I've heard lots of positive things about it from other members of the group as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's different. It's like nothing I've ever experienced, but really, I really feel that we've created a high performance work team, or it just in a different setting. You know, if you could take this group and put them in a corporate world and give them a set of objectives, we would blow the doors off it. There's no doubt in my mind. It's all the ingredients, right? It's trust, it's transparency, it's authenticity, it's putting your voice forward. It's all of these things.
I have a question.
Yes.
So if I oversleep, can I join the 707 call, or does that mean I've learned literally nothing in 32 days?
Yeah. We'll have to have a private session on that, Carolyn. But the important thing is, though, to that point, there is no judgment. And when you sign up, you know, we're human beings, right? It's every single weekday at 7:07, Accountability Lab 2, 7:07. Every weekday, I'll be opening that Zoom call. Now, life happens, right? You have stuff you have to do and you can't make it that day. It's okay. You never have to apologize. You never have to come on the call and say, oh, I'm so sorry. But no, it's none of that. We're human beings. We understand life happens. That's all we ask, is that you give the process a chance, that you have a good intention, that you're authentic, and you show up as much as you can. There's no judgment if you can't show up every day. You know, it's not easy, I know. I've taken 2 vacations in the 33 weeks, sort of long weekends. And one of the other team members was gracious enough to cover for me. So I did take a break a couple of times. And I think there's been 1 or 2 mornings where I woke up and I thought, I just can't. And somebody, you know, came in and led the group. So, you know, we're humans, right? We're not perfect. That's what this is about. It's about recognizing that, supporting each other, and moving forward. So you can reach out to me directly. You'll get the link tonight. You know, would love to have you in the next Accountability Lab 2. If there's anybody else in your network that you think might benefit from something like this, please feel free to forward the link to them. We'd love to talk to them about it. And I wish you a positive, productive, high energy, motivated evening, maybe not evening, but definitely a day tomorrow. And I hope to see you all in Accountability Lab number 2. Have a great night.